guys, thanks for coming to my channel. I feel like I haven't said that yet, and I feel like a few of you have been here pretty often. I wanted to come on and regroup back to the psychology topics. One of the things that I loved studying most in my classes was environmental psychology. I think it's so important for us to be aware of like how the environment impacts us and how we impact the environment, and like what that does to our behaviors, what that does to like how we literally just feel. And it was one of my favorite classes. So I wanted to go into some things. Again, my notes are always on my screen, not in front of me, so I'm just gonna be like looking to the side and forward. So the first thing that I want to talk about is like the human nature interaction, and this goes for like green spaces. That could be like in your backyard, you know that you're gonna have grass. Well, not everybody does, and that's why this is a huge topic to talk about. But like here, I literally have so much grass, so many plants, and honestly, my boyfriend and I are wanting to get rid of most of the grass and start our own little native area, and plant veggies, plant fruits. It'll be a fun little adventure. So yeah, just knowing that like people originated in nature, and that's where we get that like feeling, that sense of like wonderment when we come into nature, you know, and that relaxation when we can hear traffic, when we can hear people yelling because our houses are so crowded next to each other. That really does impact us in a negative way. So having like a space for yourself, like a backyard, going to a park, and really thinking about like how the silence or the sound of like the birds or crickets or cicadas is impacting you in a positive way. Because the sound of the city, I'm sure that some people really love it, but like that impact of noise over time is detrimental to your health. Let me see. So in my notes in my class, like this was such a good class and we went over it so like in depth, is talking about restorative nature. So that's places that you set, that can be a yoga studio with a bunch of plants in it. That can be your backyard. That can be taking a walk to the park, and like knowing that that is a place for you to be mindful, that is a place for you to really like take in the environment, take in the moment, rather than like constantly having things go through your mind. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, actually I don't even think that I need to talk about these, but cognitive mapping. So I am so bad at this, especially, I mean, not with everything, but when like forming an idea of where I'm going, I cannot think about like directions at all. So my cognitive mapping skills are not very practiced, I would say. And that comes with like driving or walking. I often get lost, but that's like a skill that like even rats have. Like they're able to cognitively map where they're going to get to food. They use landmarks, turn right when you see this, turn left when you see this. That's the kind of thing that cognitive mapping is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like important for our behaviors. I mean, I guess the fact that we're like heading towards something is like the goal. And like the cue is the different things that we see along the way to remember that. So I guess that definitely covers that, but not in the way that like we're trying to like change behaviors. I mean, I could, instead of turning left at the McDonald's to get to this place, because you don't want to always think about McDonald's, you can say turn left at the green patch, at that nice shrub on the end of this road, you know? So, oh, I loved this part. Placing attachment and identity to things. We all do this. Every single one of us. And it's just identifying like how you felt emotionally, or like was my family ever at this house? And that's always going to be there. Like my first house when I was younger. Like, I'll always remember it because that has so much emotion and impact that it, like, it's both good and bad, you know? Like, you have those memories. So, whatever, like, emotion is more strongly impacting how you feel about that place determines whether you are going to go back, whether you are going to veer away from it. So, yeah, I think that it's important to, like, if you're also struggling with if it's a bad emotion and you struggle to like veer away but you know that you should go back, like with family and stuff, you can always like work on changing your perception of that space, like remembering certain fun activities that happened there and then like making that the prominent memory to go back to. Okay. And then this obviously talks about pro-environmental behavior. I feel like pro-environmental behavior is a no-brainer, especially for those of us that want to engage with our environment and our mental health, because seeing graffiti, I mean, some people do like graffiti, so I can't really just say that. Let's say just seeing trash on the ground, like that's such a huge, like, thing with your environment, because then like if you see one piece of trash on the ground, you're like, oh, then this place is like a place to throw trash, and you'd be more likely to throw trash. But if you see somebody picking up the trash, then you'd be less likely to throw trash on the ground. That's just like a weird cognitive thing that happens to us when we like see certain things in the environment. We take cues from other humans and animals even, and how they're treating the environment, and determine if that's how we should treat the environment, and that determines how the environment treats us. So take care of your environment. It's important, definitely. So there's no question about it. No-brainer. One thing that's super important, we kind of touched on it when we were talking about the backyard. Not everybody has a backyard. Not everybody has like street lights that make it safe to walk around. Not everybody has a park that's accessible. And the biggest thing is whether or not you can get there on foot. So I am really lucky and I have a backyard to hang out in. I have a park that I can walk to. I have well-lit streets so I can go running at 5 a.m. But not everybody has this. And it's really sucks because this is a determinant of like social status and like prejudice too. So likely people are kind of discriminated against and put into these neighborhoods, or put into a position where they have to go to these neighborhoods if they started in low socioeconomic status, which is how like your job, your race, all of these things that combine. And people like me who are obviously privileged, white, female, well, I'm not privileged as a female, but definitely privileged as a white individual, and I have the capability of staying in a neighborhood that's well lit, all of these things, because I am like my race, you know. It's not fair to people who have to go through the system like that, that are of other races, other socioeconomic statuses, and have to like fight the system or like claw their way out to get to a comfortable spot, because I feel like I've not had to do that. Okay, let's talk about this is a cool topic, is behavioral architecture. So behavioral architecture is, well, let's think about like, I think it was at the White House. And there was this certain courtyard that one of the presidents made where every sound, despite if it's a whisper or not, would come back to one single point where he could hear everything. And that is so like on purpose, you know, like you could hear literally anything because of behavioral architect said, well, if you do this, then you'll hear the whispers, you'll hear what the room is saying about you, or about how you're doing as the president. I think that's so cool, and I'd love to see more like that. We see a lot of like architecture coming up with art and stuff, and I think it's moving in like a really cool direction where we can see more of this coming. We shall see though.
disparities in access.
Oh, and this comes back to equity. This is the last thing. I'm just gonna like reiterate that equity is, it's not equal among everybody. People, there are disparities. There are groups that are more privileged. There are groups that are discriminated against, and it's really hard for the groups that are discriminated against to rise up to the groups. I don't want to say rise up to, but like get equitable housing and equitable like amenities, I would say. So yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. I would love to chat about it more with people, maybe look into research studies and tell me what you think. I think that this is a cool thing that needs to be talked about more for sure. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.